Happy full moon in Taurus. Once again, we are within about 8 hours of the full moon. So it is Mars night. Tuesday night is a Venus hour, and the sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Taurus. The full moon occurs at 13 degrees and 22 minutes at 5:19 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, there's quite a lot going on with this full moon, even though the moon itself may not be making direct aspects to other planets aside from the sun. But if we look at the ruler of Taurus, which is Venus, Venus is at home in her other sign in Libra, which sounds great, but she has been making or having really difficult conversations over the past few weeks with Chiron and Eris in Aries. Chiron, the wounded healer, Eris, the goddess of discord and strife, which is an outdated perspective, in my opinion. I feel like Eris is more of the energy that calls things out and wants fairness and wants to be seen, wants the truth to reveal itself. And with Venus in the last degrees of Libra, she's about to move into Scorpio, so now the truth is really going to reveal itself. And on top of that, Jupiter in Cancer has also been having hard conversations with Venus in Libra, because they're all in cardinal signs. Cancer, Aries, Libra, and Capricorn are all cardinal signs, and so they all want to do things their way, and right away they're the initiators of all the signs. They're the cardinal signs. And so when each of them kind of meet up at this intersection, each one wants to go first and bring their energies to the forefront, bring their stories. For Chiron, it's their memories of being wounded and the insecurities. Eris wants things to be fair and is calling things out. And then Jupiter in Cancer is bringing all of the ancestral wisdom and the memories of the past. And so there's a lot of rehashing of things that have not gone correct, not gone right. And this, with Venus being an energy of the feminine and relationships as well as money, this can bring up like sister moons. And that's definitely something that has been coming up in the lives of people around me, myself. And so there's a lot stirring with this full moon in Taurus, which is also Venus ruled. And it's all for reflection, not necessarily making rash decisions at all. Taurus is not the type to make rash decisions, go quickly. Actually, it's quite the contrary. It wants things to stay the same. And I mean, there is a level of wanting to improve and make things better for our stability, but it's going to take a lot of effort. Taurus is a fixed sign. There can be hesitation. What Taurus wants us to do is really feel into these decisions that we're making. And what I found interesting, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of simultaneous movements, placements, and retrogrades that are happening back to back, and it's quite a dance that the universe is orchestrating right now. So with the full moon in Taurus, we have Mercury now in Sagittarius, which is about to go retrograde. Mercury is the ruler of the south node in Virgo, and the moon, the Taurus moon, is making a trine to the south node in Virgo. So it's within 3 degrees. The moon is at 13 degrees and the nodes are at 16. So that's definitely within range. And Mercury going retrograde is asking us to reflect, go inward, not start anything new. We're going to revisit old conversations and decisions that we've made over the past month. It's going to go back to 20 degrees Scorpio, which interestingly enough, I found that 20 degrees Scorpio is the longer, the bigger arc midpoint between Jupiter in Cancer and the North Node in Pisces. And Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. And so according to degree theory, 20 degrees is connected to Scorpio. So this is all about transformation and letting go of attachments, really revealing the truth, revealing hidden truths, so that the true value can come through. We can really see things for what they are. And so Mercury will go direct on the 29th at 20 degrees, the midpoint between Jupiter and Pisces. And we'll learn how to, or figure out, or discover what needs to be released. Mercury being the ruler of the south node, Virgo. And then with Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter again is the ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter will also be going retrograde on the 11th. So Mercury's retrograding on the 9th of November, and then it will go direct on the 29th at 20 degrees Scorpio. And Jupiter will retrograde on the 11th of November, so 11/11, next Tuesday, is when Jupiter will retrograde. It will go back to 15 degrees Cancer. So right now it's at 25 degrees, and it will it's making a trine to Saturn in Pisces. And so there's this beautiful water trine with Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is at 29 degrees. And then Mercury, when it goes direct on the 29th, Venus will also be in Scorpio at 29 degrees, preparing to enter Sagittarius. But when Mercury goes direct on the 29th, it will still be in Scorpio at the last degree, making this trine. So Venus will be making a trine to Neptune, which is very creative, incredibly creative. It could be very emotional as well. And with Jupiter in the mix, this is going to expand and multiply these creative juices, emotions, memories. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer can definitely bring up those family matters. Jupiter is also going to make a square with Chiron once again in Aries. Chiron is retrograde as well, so is Eris. And so there's so many energies, there's so many players that are active for the month of November. And with this full moon in Taurus is really asking us to take advantage of these retrograde energies to ground down and take stock of the relationships that we are in, and really assess, like feel into our body and use this discernment that we can gain from connecting with the earth, with the elements, really taking our time to savor every moment in nature, whatever you're doing, whether you're eating, walking, sleeping, like meditating, whatever you're doing, connecting with what is going on around you, being grateful for these moments that you're able to experience. And then when this happens, I feel like there's a lot more intuitive discernment that can come through, so that the decisions that we are being faced with can be made with a lot more certainty and confidence and trust in the universe. And that's what retrograde periods are for, is for us to really turn inward and connect to what really matters, not start anything new, because that would bring us outside of ourselves. You know, these retrograde moments are important to consider the depth of the relationships and the significance of these material things that we have in our possession. And there's going to be an emphasis on decluttering, which is something that I definitely need to follow my own advice about. And I feel like I've decluttered over the past year or so, but there's always room for more decluttering, especially with the awareness that is coming to light now that, within the next year, everything's pretty much going to be a clean slate, like a brand new earth. And the things that we have now will likely not have the same relevance in the future. Like, I've already purged a lot of clothes that, I loved to wear because it was, like I got it on sale or it was really cool. But finding out that there's a frequency attached to certain fabrics, and there's other fabrics of higher frequency that actually are beneficial to our body. They have higher frequency levels that actually allow us to heal. And this is something that has been gatekept for years. And so the production of these synthetic fibers, unbeknownst to us, have not allowed us to repair our body. On top of the information that has been hidden or been greenwashed, saying that something is non-GMO when it is, and, all these labels that are basically lying to us, like food labels and whatnot. So that's why the importance of being self-sustainable and using our discernment to know whether something is actually organic or not, or whether, any company or product that is being sold to us is made in our favor and for our benefit, or if it's, produced to only make a profit and they only want to keep the profit going, which, we can talk about the pharmaceutical company, but that's another topic, and also, yeah, probably very sensitive topic. If you know, you know. So yeah, just using our intuition, especially with this grand water trine that's going to be in play for a while. I mean, even when the sun moves into Sagittarius, when the sun moves into Sagittarius, I think we're still going to. So, yeah, I mean, at least for the month of November, we have this grand water trine to really take advantage of the harness and connect with our intuition and like sharpen our intuition so that we don't have the wool pulled over our eyes. We've had the wool pulled over our eyes for long enough, and this is a period season. Scorpio season is the time when the veil is really thin, and so we're able to see what is actually lies and what is actually truth. And so if we can just stay connected with that and not be distracted by other people's whatever it might be. It could be like ridiculous, just pointless, unbeneficial, unproductive stories that just keep you away from whatever you're creating, whatever your soul is like trying to tell you. And that's the thing right now. Like there's so many relationships and relationships with jobs, marital relationships, any kind of, friendships that are starting to change and transform, and it may be very hard to understand what is going on, but we just have to trust that if it's happening, then it's happening for a reason. And people who are acting the way they're acting and making decisions for themselves to no longer engage is a blessing in disguise. Like you may not have done anything at all, and we can only do so much. And if there's no willingness to even talk it out or help the other person understand what is going on, then, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much energy that you can expel before your energy is being siphoned. And, then your ego takes over and you want to know, like, why are they not talking to me anymore? What did I do wrong? And it's really not the kind of energy that is meant for your highest good. Like there's better ways of using your energy, a million different ways of using your energy than worrying about why someone doesn't like you. Because not everyone's going to like one another, and that's okay. Like everybody has their own path, and good on them for making the decision, like to part ways for whatever reason that might be. And the dirty work was done for you. It's a process of acceleration. Like there's, especially with Mars, that's, Mars moving into Sagittarius, I'm calling that expediting the adventure. And so, like, not wasting any time with this new path that we're carving out for ourselves. And Mars now in Sagittarius in opposition to Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is retrograde right now. It's about to move back into Taurus, moving back to 27 degrees Taurus. So that's going to move right over fixed star Algol, or the demon star, which is another outdated mythological story of Medusa. And I feel like that story is going to be rewritten with Uranus moving over that point, because Uranus dismantles and breaks down what has been to reveal the truth. But like so many goddess asteroids, the perspective of the story that has been told over the past hundreds of years has been told from the perspective of the man, the patriarch. And so we can see the first time Uranus passed over 26, 27 degrees over the past year, when Uranus was still in Taurus, like not having moved into Gemini yet. So many stories of females being betrayed by their husbands, their boss, their some sort of male figure, where there was an assault or some sort of corruption where she was painted in a certain light to make her look bad and make the man the victim. So with Uranus passing over Algol again, and this is the case with a lot of the goddess asteroids, Uranus will also pass, when it goes back into Gemini, it'll make contact with Sedna, another goddess asteroid who was betrayed by her father. And so these stories and mythologies that have been told over the past hundreds of years are going to have a fresh perspective from the feminine side. Like there's always two sides to a story, three sides to a story. And so with Uranus and Pluto, having these conversations with so many different goddess asteroids, Sedna, Algol, Haumea, which is in Scorpio, beginning degrees of Scorpio as well. There's so many that are surfacing. The feminine voice is getting louder and voicing their truth. And so, just as a side note, that's going to become louder and more prominent. And so, that's definitely going to affect the balance. Like, this is something, that we have been striving for, is equality. And now the balance is shifting. We just got out of Libra season, which is all about balance. And now we're going to the depths and the darkness and the shadows of what is involved when we switch things, when the balance is redirected. And so things are changing. This is the nature of cardinal seasons, which was Libra. And so moving into Scorpio, this is where we are really grounding down and like seeing what is the truth of things. So yeah, Uranus retrograding back. It's going to make favorable, harmonious contact with Jupiter in Cancer. And so they're going to be able to work together. Earth and water are able to really create something stable. And this is going to be tied to family systems with Jupiter and Cancer, and our actual home, our physical home with Uranus and Taurus. And this can have everything to do with our belief systems as well, Jupiter's wisdoms and our belief systems. Uranus re-enters Taurus on the 7th of November, so in a couple of days. Uranus goes back to Taurus. It'll be at 29 degrees, and Uranus will be in a favorable aspect to Neptune in Pisces, which is also at 29 degrees, which is also retrograde. So that's another combination of earth and water. Pisces being water, being the dream, the visionary, and Taurus having that stable, can-do, like earthy energy. And the combination of the two can really bring our dreams to fruition. That's going to be a beautiful energy to take advantage of. With Saturn also in a trine to Jupiter, like this is something that has been almost like long awaited, because Saturn and Jupiter have been, or Jupiter and Saturn have been in a square, ongoing square for so long, which is like an aspect of tension. So Saturn being authorities and integrity and discipline in a conversation with Jupiter that wants to expand and go forward, and our hopes and dreams being challenged by Saturn has been going on for years. And now that they're coming into flowing aspect of agreement, emotional agreement, we can trust our intuition. We can trust that the spiritual disciplines that we have been practicing are paying off, and that's going to manifest or show up with the Jupiter in Cancer, like the blessings and the delightful surprises that can come when we stay in that high frequency, when we can hold the frequency of love and harmony and joyful abundance rather than despair and fear. And that's something that, even recently, my cousin was worried about something that was happening financially in her world, and like every time she was like, no, I don't know if it's gonna happen this, I'm really worried this time. Like, no, stop it, shh, like don't say those things. Like, Abel Hart has a song, he's got a lot of songs that are amazing to just play and listen to and dance to, and he uses like binaural beats and positive manifestations, like I'm a magnet, just staying in that frequency of everything good happens to me, like I attract abundance, like all of those beliefs pay off. As cheesy as it might sound, but try it. Like, there's no harm in trying. And it's worth experimenting with. That is the vibe right now. Like, there's so many energies that are supporting our thoughts. Like, whatever we think can expand, especially when Mercury goes back into Scorpio and makes another trine with Jupiter and Saturn. There's also divinatory messages that we can get. Like, I actually have been using the tarot cards recently, and for the full moon I pulled the 7 of Pentacles, which is all about Taurus energies, like looking at your harvest, seeing what needs improvement, and using your discernment. Like, this is a time for really going inward, like I was talking about, and paying attention to the nuances of the relationships, the depths of the emotion that people you're in relationships with can go. Like, if you're able to be seen and heard and supported and celebrated, like those are the relationships that you want to keep around. And anything other than that is not worth your energy. You want relationships that are going to help you grow, not devolve. And so on the bottom of the card, the bottom of the deck was the High Priestess, which is all about higher wisdoms and spiritual knowledge and intuition, like deep intuition. So I feel like that's Jupiter in Cancer, which is inviting us to explore our lineage, our ancestry, like even tarot cards, astrology. All of these methods of truth seeking have been repressed or suppressed by the patriarchy. We've been told that these things are for entertainment purposes only, and all of that is changing. All of that has been showing us that we've been lied to. The authorities that have been very, left brain, and this formula needs to be followed, or these orders need to be carried through for XYZ to happen, is proving themselves not beneficial for the masses. And we are learning that those practices have only been in place for the benefit of a few select. And so when we explore and trust the unknown and the divine, we can get answers that are personally beneficial to our soul for the liberation of our soul. So hopefully you find some curiosity and maybe are already on that path of exploring your soul's blueprint and staying in that creative, heart-centered space and not being sucked into the fear and shame of all of these divisive tactics. So just really sharpening your intuition to know for yourself what is true and what is worth investing in as far as time, energy, finances. With the full moon in Taurus, this is, I consider it to be gifts and grounding. So grounding down, grounding into the earth, having that appreciation and gratitude toward the experiences that we're having. This is all connected to the earth and Gaia and our five senses, and being grateful for the blessings that we are receiving, because the more gratitude we have, the beliefs that we have can manifest faster. Your creative energy and your creative power is invaluable, so protect it and put it towards something that you love, whatever it is. Like, it will come through when you stop distracting yourself, or when you detach from those things that are trying to distract you and pull you away from your soul's journey, your soul's path. There is a lot going on. These retrogrades, Mercury, which is the ruler of the South Node, and Jupiter, the ruler of the North Node, are really working together for our benefit, so that we can take stock of our relationships, our personal belongings, and see what is really of value and what is going to come with us in the future. Not everybody is going to come with us. I mean, that's just the reality of things. It's part of the process, and I feel like with this water trine, it's helping us wash away those outdated beliefs and obligations of having to stay attached to certain relationships just because on the surface or aesthetically or superficially there's some sort of surface benefit. But we are really digging deep during the Scorpio season, with Mercury going back into Scorpio, making these trines with Jupiter, retrograde in Cancer, and Saturn, which will be direct on the 28th of November in Pisces. So this is an acceptance. This is like a process of accepting what is no longer in alignment, and really finding the value in what may have been hiding in the background. Like those relationships that have been superficially beneficial are losing its luster and being reshuffled into positions and places and in connection with those people, places, and things that are of significant and authentic value. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that helps. And stay centered, stay grounded, stay hydrated, and hit me up if you would like some insight to how these energies are affecting you. These are big changes. They take a lot of adjustment. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, it starts with awareness. So once you're aware and you see the possibilities in front of you, then the decisions that you make can be better informed, divinely informed. So thanks for sticking around. All the best. Happy full moon in Taurus. Till next time.